$28,400,000. That's what GlobalTech Industries paid me for patent, the US 1847392B2, a proprietary algorithm for real-time data encryption that I'd spent 11 years developing in my garage while everyone told me I was wasting my time. 11 years of late nights, 11 years of maxed-out credit cards, 11 years of my wife sighing every time I mentioned the patent, rolling her eyes when I tried to explain the breakthrough I was working on. And now, suddenly, I was rich. My name is David Brennan. I'm 42 years old. I have a degree in computer science from a state school nobody's heard of, and until 3 weeks ago, I worked as a mid-level software engineer making $68,000 a year. The sale closed on a Tuesday. The money hit my account on Wednesday, and by Thursday, my wife Elena was planning a celebration party. "We have to celebrate, David," she said, her eyes bright with an excitement I hadn't seen in years. "This is huge. This changes everything. We need to share this moment with the people who supported you." I wanted to ask who exactly had supported me, not her mother Victoria, who'd spent a decade telling me to get a real hobby, not our friends, who'd stopped asking about the patent after year 3 when it became clear I was obsessing over something that might never materialize. But I didn't say any of that. I just nodded and watched her make phone calls, her voice animated, her whole body energized in a way I hadn't seen since we first met. Maybe the money would fix things between us. Maybe now that the struggle was over, we could finally be happy. I was an idiot. The party was set for Saturday night at our house, a modest 3-bedroom in the suburbs that we'd been living in for 8 years. Elena wanted to rent a venue somewhere upscale, but I convinced her to keep it simple. Just close friends and family. Low-key. She agreed, but I could see the disappointment in her eyes. The days leading up to the party were strange. Elena was on her phone constantly, whispering conversations in other rooms. Her mother Victoria came by 3 times, which was unusual since she normally avoided our house, claiming it was too far, even though she lived 20 minutes away. I'd catch them huddled together in the kitchen, voices low, and when I walked in, they'd suddenly shift to talking about party planning, decorations, food, music, normal things. But something felt off. Before we get into it, don't forget to like and subscribe, and hit hype to boost this episode. Drop a comment below with your city or country. I'm always curious where viewers are joining from. On Friday night, I was in my office organizing paperwork when I overheard them talking in the hallway. I wasn't trying to eavesdrop. The door was slightly open, and their voices carried. "Are you sure about this?" Elena asked. Her voice sounded tense. "Absolutely sure," Victoria replied. "It's the only way. Once it's done, everything transfers automatically. The lawyers confirmed it." "But what if something goes wrong?" "Nothing will go wrong, trust me. I've thought through every detail. By Sunday, everything will be different." I stood frozen, listening. What were they talking about? What transfers automatically? Then Victoria said something that made my blood run cold. "He won't even know what hit him." They laughed. Quiet, conspiratorial laughter. I waited until they left. Then I sat down at my computer and started searching. I checked our joint accounts, our property titles, the business entity I'd created to hold the patent rights. Everything looked normal, but I couldn't shake the feeling that something was very wrong. Saturday arrived with perfect weather, sunny, warm, the kind of day that's supposed to feel celebratory. I woke up to find Elena already dressed, wearing a red cocktail dress I'd never seen before. Expensive looking, probably bought with money from our suddenly flush account. "You look beautiful," I said. She smiled, but it didn't reach her eyes. "Thank you. Big day. Our lives are changing, David." "Yeah, they are." I showered and put on the suit she'd laid out for me. Navy blue, new. She'd bought it without telling me, along with a silk tie and Italian leather shoes. "You need to look the part," she'd said when I discovered them in the closet. "You're a millionaire now, Act like it. The caterers arrived at 2, the bartender at 3. By 4, the house was transformed. White linens, flower arrangements, a champagne tower on the dining room table, string lights in the backyard. It looked like a wedding reception. Victoria arrived at 4:30, dressed in a cream pantsuit, carrying a designer purse. She kissed Elena on both cheeks, then turned to me. "Congratulations, David. You finally did something worthwhile." I forced a smile. "Thanks, Victoria. It must be such a relief. After all these years of failure, you finally succeeded." "It wasn't failure. It was research and development." She waved her hand dismissively. "Whatever you want to call it. The important thing is, you're finally financially stable, finally able to provide properly." Elena touched her mother's arm. "Mom, not today. I'm just being honest. He knows I'm right." I walked away before I said something I'd regret. Guests started arriving at 5. Colleagues from work, a few friends from college, Elena's friends, people I barely knew but who were suddenly very interested in talking to me. Everyone wanted to hear the story. "How did you do it? What's the algorithm? How much did they pay? What are you going to do with the money?" I answered their questions mechanically, watching Elena and Victoria across the room. They kept disappearing into the kitchen together, whispering, planning something. At 6, Elena called for everyone's attention. "Thank you all for coming," she said, her voice clear and confident. "Today, we're celebrating David's incredible achievement. 11 years of hard work have finally paid off, and I couldn't be prouder." Everyone clapped. I felt hollow. "Let's do a toast," she continued. "Champagne for everyone." The bartender started pouring. Elena personally brought me a glass, her smile wide and bright. "To us," she whispered. "To our future." I took the glass, watched her move through the crowd, making sure everyone had champagne. Victoria stood beside her, both of them working in perfect synchronization. Then I saw it. Elena was standing near the champagne tower, partially obscured by other guests. She glanced around, then reached into her clutch purse, pulled out something small, a vial, clear glass with a clear liquid inside. My heart stopped. I watched as she unscrewed the cap, looked around again. Then, when she thought no one was watching, she tilted the vial over my glass, the one she'd set on the table, the one she'd told me to pick up in a moment. The liquid disappeared into the champagne, invisible, undetectable unless you knew to look for it. Victoria was beside her now, nodding, smiling. Elena screwed the cap back on, slipped the vial into her purse, picked up my glass and turned, looking for me. I stood frozen, my mind racing. She'd just poisoned my drink. My wife had just put something in my champagne, and her mother was in on it. I moved on autopilot, my body going through motions while my brain tried to process what I'd just seen. Elena approached with the glass, her smile perfect. Practiced. The smile of someone who'd rehearsed this moment. "Here you go, honey. Your special glass." She handed it to me. I took it, feeling the weight of the crystal, seeing the bubbles rising through the golden liquid. Somewhere in there, invisible, was whatever she'd added. "Thank you," I managed to say. She kissed my cheek, whispered in my ear, "To our future. Everything's going to be different now." She had no idea how right she was. Elena clinked her glass against mine and moved away, rejoining her mother near the fireplace. They were watching me, waiting. I looked down at the champagne. My hands were steady. My mind was clear. Whatever was happening, I needed to think. What had she put in there? Poison? Something to make me sick? Something to make me sleep? And why? The overheard conversation came back to me. He won't even know what hit him. Everything transfers automatically. They were planning something involving my money, my patent, my assets. I glanced around the room, 40 people, friends, colleagues, witnesses to whatever was about to happen. And then I knew what to do. I set my glass down on the mantel, casual. like I was just resting it there. Then I circulated through the crowd, shaking hands, accepting congratulations, playing the role of the gracious host. Victoria was standing near the champagne tower, holding her own glass. She'd separated from Elena, talking to a neighbor about her recent cruise to Greece. I moved closer, positioning myself next to her. She barely acknowledged me, too engrossed in her story about Mediterranean sunsets. Her glass was on the table beside her, identical to mine. Same crystal, same golden champagne. In one smooth motion, while she gestured with her hands, while everyone else was distracted by someone's loud laugh across the room, I switched the glasses. Hers went to where mine had been. Mine, the poisoned one, went to her spot. My heart was pounding, but my hands were steady. I picked up her glass, her real glass, the clean one, and stepped away. Victoria finished her story and reached for her drink without looking, picked up the glass I'd left for her, the poisoned glass, my glass. She brought it to her lips. I watched over the rim of my own glass as she drank. 1 sip. 2. 3. Elena was watching from across the room. She saw her mother drinking and smiled, raised her own glass in a small, private toast. She thought Victoria was drinking clean champagne. She thought I was drinking the poisoned one. She had no idea I'd just flipped her entire plan upside down. I waited, continued talking to guests, laughed at jokes, played the part. 5 minutes passed. Then I saw Victoria's hand go to her forehead. She swayed slightly, set her glass down. "Are you okay?" someone asked. "Just a bit dizzy," she said. "I think I need to sit down." Elena pushed through the crowd. "Mom, what's wrong?" "I don't know, I feel strange. Very tired suddenly." She sat down heavily in an armchair. Her face was flushed. Her breathing was getting shallow. Mom, talk to me." Victoria tried to speak, but her words were slurred. Her eyes were unfocused. She was fading fast. Elena's face went from concerned to panicked to something else, something that looked almost like realization. "What did you drink?" Elena demanded, her voice sharp. "Just champagne." "Which glass? Which glass did you drink from?" Victoria pointed vaguely at the table where I'd left the poisoned glass. Elena's eyes found mine across the room. Our gazes locked. And I saw it, the moment she understood what had happened. Her face drained of all color. "Someone call an ambulance," I said loudly. "Now!" People scattered. Someone had their phone out. Voices overlapped. "She's not breathing properly. Is she having a stroke? What happened?" I walked slowly to where Elena stood frozen, leaned in close, whispered so only she could hear. "Your mother drank my champagne, the one you poured for me. Want to tell me what was in it?" She couldn't speak, just stared at me with wide, terrified eyes. Victoria collapsed fully now, slumping in the chair. Someone lowered her to the floor. A guest, who was a nurse, started checking her vital signs. "Her pulse is weak. Breathing is depressed. This isn't alcohol. She's been drugged." The word hung in the air like a bomb. Drugged. Everyone turned to look at me, then at Elena. "I don't understand," Elena said, but her voice was shaking. "I just poured champagne, that's all. Just champagne from the bottle." "Did anyone see her take anything?" someone asked. Silence. Then one of Elena's friends, a woman named Patricia, spoke up quietly. "I saw you add something to a glass, Elena. Earlier, before the toast, I saw you put something in it." Elena's face went from white to red. It was a supplement, just a vitamin thing. For energy, that's all." "A vitamin," I repeated. "In my champagne?" "Yes." "Without telling me?" "I wanted to surprise you. You've been so tired lately. So you thought you'd secretly drug me at my own party. It wasn't drugs, it was just—" The paramedics arrived, the room filled with uniforms and equipment. They got Victoria on a stretcher, asking rapid-fire questions. What did she consume? Any known allergies? When did symptoms begin? Elena followed them out, still protesting that it was just champagne, just a normal drink. She didn't understand what was happening. But I saw it in her eyes as they loaded her mother into the ambulance. She knew exactly what was happening, and she knew she was caught. The party ended quickly after that. Guests left in confused clusters, whispering about what they'd seen. Some offered sympathy. Others just wanted to escape the awkwardness. I stood in my suddenly empty living room, surrounded by half-eaten appetizers and full champagne glasses, and called my lawyer. Michael Chen answered on the second ring. "David, isn't your party tonight?" "It was. I need you to do something for me right now." "What's going on?" "Freeze all my accounts. All of them. Joint accounts, investment accounts, everything. I need them locked down immediately." "David, that's a pretty extreme step. What happened?" "My wife just tried to poison me." Silence. Then, "I'm coming over. Don't talk to anyone. Don't sign anything. I'll be there in 20 minutes. He arrived in 15, carrying a briefcase and wearing the serious expression of a lawyer who knew something bad was coming. I explained everything. The overheard conversation, the vial, the switch, Victoria collapsing. Michael made notes, his face growing darker. "Do you still have the glass she drank from?" The paramedics took it as evidence. "Good. What about the vial?" "Elena has it, in her purse." "Did anyone else see her put something in the drink?" "Patricia Westwood. She's one of Elena's friends. She saw it." Michael nodded slowly. "Okay. Here's what's going to happen. The hospital will run a toxicology screen on Victoria. When that comes back, showing whatever drug was in her system, the police will get involved. They'll want to talk to you. You tell them exactly what you told me, everything. Don't leave anything out." "What about Elena? What about her? What happens to her?" Michael looked at me with something like pity. "If they find evidence she attempted to poison you, she goes to jail, David. This isn't a marital dispute. This is attempted murder." The words hit me like a physical blow. Attempted murder. My wife had tried to kill me. "Why?" I asked. "Why would she do this?" "For the money. It's always about money. She probably figured if you died, she'd inherit everything. Clean, simple, no divorce, no splitting assets, just a tragic accident at a celebration party. But we're married. She already has access to the money." "Does she? Did you put her name on the new accounts?" I thought about it. "No, not yet. The patent sale money went into an account in my name only. I was planning to set up a joint account next week, but I haven't done it yet. Then she doesn't have legal access. If something happened to you right now, she'd have to wait for probate. Could take months. Unless what? Unless she has forged documents. A will naming her as executor and sole beneficiary, power of attorney, transfer paperwork. If she had those ready to go, and you were incapacitated, she could move fast. Take control of everything before anyone could stop her." The overheard conversation suddenly made terrible sense. "Everything transfers automatically." "We need to search the house," I said. "If there are forged documents, they're here somewhere." "We can't do that, not legally, but the police can. Once they open an investigation, they can get a warrant." My phone rang. "The hospital," I answered. "Mr. Brennan? This is Dr. Patel from Mercy General. I'm calling about Victoria Rostova. Are you her son-in-law?" "Yes. Your wife is here with her, but we need to speak with you as well. Mrs. Rostova's condition is serious. She's unconscious and unresponsive. Toxicology shows high levels of zolpidem and carisoprodol in her system." "I don't know what those are." "Zolpidem is a sedative. Carisoprodol is a muscle relaxant. Together, in the amounts we're seeing, they can cause severe respiratory depression. Mrs. Rostova is in the ICU. We've stabilized her, but she's not out of danger." "Will she survive?" "We're doing everything we can." "But Mr. Brennan, I need to ask, do you know how she ingested these substances?" I looked at Michael. He nodded. "Yes," I said. "They were meant for me. My wife put them in my champagne. Victoria drank it by mistake. Long silence. I see. Mr. Brennan, I'm required to report this to the police. This is a suspected poisoning. I understand. Please do. I hung up. Looked at Michael. It's done. The police are coming. Good. That's good. Let them handle it. 2 hours later, 2 detectives showed up at my door. Detective Sarah Martinez and Detective James Kowalski. Both in their 40s, both looking tired and skeptical. They asked me to walk them through everything. I did. Showed them where Elena had stood, where I'd switched the glasses, where Victoria had collapsed. And you're certain your wife put something in your drink? Martinez asked. I saw her do it. But you didn't actually see what was in the vial. No, but the hospital confirmed Victoria has sedatives and muscle relaxants in her system. Those didn't get there by accident. Kowalski wrote in his notebook. Where's your wife now? At the hospital with her mother. And the vial? In her purse, I assume. We'll need to speak with her, and we'll need to search this house. Are you willing to consent to a search, or do we need a warrant? I looked at Michael. He nodded. He consents. Search anything you want. What they found changed everything. The search took 3 hours. They went through everything. Drawers, closets, filing cabinets, Elena's office, her computer, her phone records. In Elena's desk, in a locked drawer that they had to break open, they found a folder labeled Important Documents. Inside, a forged will naming Elena as executor and sole beneficiary of my estate. A forged power of attorney giving Elena control of all my financial decisions. Property transfer documents, already signed with my forged signature, transferring our house to Elena's name only. Business documents transferring ownership of my patent holding company to Elena. And emails. Dozens of emails between Elena and Victoria discussing the plan. Detective Martinez read them aloud while I stood there, feeling nauseous. We need to do it at the party. Too many witnesses for anyone to suspect deliberate poisoning. How much do we use? Enough to make him unconscious for several hours. While he's out, I'll sign the documents and get them notarized by Mark. Mark was Victoria's boyfriend, apparently a notary public. What if he wakes up? He won't. Not for at least 12 hours. And by then, everything will be transferred. The house, the company, the accounts, all in your name. What do we tell him when he wakes up? That he passed out drunk, that everyone saw it, that he embarrassed himself. He'll be so mortified he won't question anything. And if he does, we'll say he signed the papers himself before the party and just doesn't remember. What if it doesn't work? It'll work. Trust me. By Monday, you'll control everything. And he'll have no legal recourse. Martinez looked up from the emails. There's more. They discussed a plan B. What's plan B? I asked, dreading the answer. She read, if he refuses to sign anything when he wakes up, or if he gets suspicious, we proceed to plan B, the permanent solution. Kowalski spoke quietly. Mr. Brennan, plan B was murder. If the initial plan failed, they were going to kill you. I sat down. My legs wouldn't hold me anymore. There's evidence they researched ways to make it look like an accident, Martinez continued. Carbon monoxide poisoning, staged suicide, even a home invasion gone wrong. My wife wanted me dead. Your wife wanted your money. You were just an obstacle. They kept searching. Found the vial in Elena's purse, still half full. Found a receipt from a pharmacy where Victoria had filled a prescription for Zolpidem under a fake name. Found texts between Elena and Victoria discussing timing, dosage, and contingencies. This is premeditated, Kowalski said. This wasn't a spur-of-the-moment decision. They planned this for weeks. My phone rang. Elena. Martinez nodded. Answer it. We'll listen. I put it on speaker. David? Elena's voice was shaking. Where are you? I need you at the hospital. I'm at home, with the police. Silence. Then, why are the police there? You know why. David, I don't know what you think happened, but they found everything, Elena. The emails, the forged documents, the vial. They know what you did. I didn't do anything. My mother drank too much. That's all. She's sick because she drank too much champagne. She's sick because she drank the sedatives you meant for me. That's insane. You're being paranoid. The stress of the money is making you… Patricia saw you put something in my drink. The hospital confirmed the drugs in your mother's system. The police found your emails planning the whole thing. It's over. Long silence. Then, quietly, I want a lawyer. Good idea. You're going to need one. Martinez took the phone. Mrs. Brennan? This is Detective Martinez with the Metro Police. We need you to come to the station for questioning. Don't leave the hospital. Officers are on their way to escort you. Elena hung up. 2 hours later, they arrested her at the hospital. Charged her with attempted murder, conspiracy to commit fraud, forgery, and a list of other charges I couldn't keep track of. They arrested Victoria too, as soon as she regained consciousness. She was handcuffed to her hospital bed, police guard outside her room. I sat in my empty house, surrounded by the debris of the party that was supposed to celebrate my success, and tried to process that my wife had planned to kill me for money. The days after the arrest blurred together. Lawyers, police interviews, media attention. Apparently, a wife trying to poison her millionaire husband at his own celebration party was newsworthy. Michael handled most of it, froze all assets, filed for emergency divorce, got restraining orders, made sure Elena couldn't touch anything that was mine. Elena's lawyer tried to paint it as a misunderstanding, a mistake. She hadn't meant to hurt anyone. She was just trying to give me something to help me relax. The forged documents were just drafts she was working on as a surprise. The emails were taken out of context. No one believed it. The evidence was overwhelming. Victoria recovered after a week in ICU. The doctors said she was lucky. Another hour without treatment, and she would have died. She immediately turned on Elena, told the police everything. How it had been Elena's idea from the start. How Elena had researched the drugs, bought them, planned the timing. How Elena had forged my signatures. How Elena had talked about finally getting what she deserved. She said you'd wasted years on a stupid patent that would never sell, Victoria told the detectives. Then, when it sold for millions, she was furious. She said you didn't deserve that money, that she'd suffered through years of your obsession, and she deserved to be compensated. So, you agreed to help her kill me? Victoria looked down. She said it would just make you sleep, that you wouldn't be hurt. I didn't know she was planning the other thing. Plan B. Murder. I swear I didn't know about that. When I found out, I told her it was too far, but she said it was just a backup, that it wouldn't come to that. I looked at this woman who I'd known for 14 years, who I'd called Mom, who'd sat at my dinner table hundreds of times. You were willing to drug me so your daughter could steal my money. She's my daughter. I was trying to help her. By helping her commit fraud. I made a mistake. I'm sorry. You almost died drinking the poison meant for me. And you're telling me you're sorry? She started crying. I left. Elena's trial was scheduled for 6 months out. The prosecutor was confident. They had evidence, witnesses, a clear motive. They were pursuing attempted murder charges. Elena took a plea deal 3 weeks before trial, pleaded guilty to attempted assault with a deadly substance, conspiracy to commit fraud, and forgery. 15 years. She'd be eligible for parole in 7. Victoria got 10 years for conspiracy. She'd be 73 when she got out. I sat in the courtroom when they were sentenced, listening to Elena cry and apologize and say she'd made terrible choices. She looked at me once, her eyes pleading. I felt nothing. The woman I'd loved was gone. Maybe she'd never existed. Maybe I'd just imagined her. 6 months after the arrests, I was sitting in my lawyer's office, signing the final divorce papers. Congratulations, Michael said. You're officially single and significantly richer. Doesn't feel like a victory. Better than being dead. Fair point. My phone rang. Unknown number. I almost didn't answer, but something made me pick up. Mr. Brennan, this is Detective Martinez. Do you have a few minutes? Sure. What's going on? We've finished our investigation into the full scope of your wife's activities. There's something we found that you need to know about. What is it? Can you come to the station? This isn't something we should discuss over the phone. An hour later, I was sitting in an interview room, Martinez and Kowalski across from me looking uncomfortable. We found something on Elena's laptop, Martinez said. Something that changes the timeline of her planning. Okay. Mr. Brennan, your wife didn't start planning this after the patent sold. She started planning it 14 months ago, before the sale, before you even had a buyer. I blinked. That doesn't make sense. How could she plan to steal money I didn't have yet? Because she knew about the sale before you did. Look at this. She opened a laptop, showed me emails, between Elena and someone named Richard Kolchak, dated 14 months ago. Who's Richard Kolchak? Senior Vice President at GlobalTech Industries, the company that bought your patent. My blood went cold. What? Your wife was having an affair with him, had been for 18 months. They met at a conference, started sleeping together, and when you mentioned you were close to completing your patent, she told him about it. He brought it to his company's attention. They sent representatives to evaluate it. Elena told them about my patent? Yes, and in exchange, Kolchak told her how much they'd likely pay for it. 25 to 30 million was the estimate. She started planning immediately. She sold information about my patent to her boyfriend? Worse than that, she negotiated a finder's fee, 10% of the purchase price. That's why the sale happened so fast. GlobalTech was getting insider information through Kolchak. They knew exactly what your patent could do, how valuable it was, and how to structure the offer. They got a bargain. You should have gotten closer to 40 million. I sat back, stunned. My wife was running a con on me the entire time. And Kolchak was in on it. She gave him information. He lowballed you on behalf of his company. They were planning to split the finder's fee and whatever she could steal from you after the sale. What about the poisoning? That was after Kolchak broke up with her. See these emails from 3 months ago? He ended the affair, said it was too risky, said he'd already paid her the finder's fee, $2.8 million, and she needed to stay away from him. She got $3 million from selling my patent information? And she hid it. Offshore account in the Cayman Islands. We found it 2 days ago. My head was spinning. So she already had money. Why did she need to poison me? Because she wanted all of it. The finder's fee wasn't enough. She wanted the full 28 million. She wanted the house, the company, everything. And she knew she couldn't get it in a divorce. Prenuptial agreement would have limited her to 25% of assets acquired during the marriage. But if you died, she'd inherit everything. Or so she thought. Did Kolchak know about the poisoning plan? We don't think so. He seems genuinely shocked. He's cooperating fully, probably trying to save his own skin. Will he be charged? That's up to the federal prosecutors. Industrial espionage, insider trading, depends on how deep his involvement was. I sat there trying to process it. My wife hadn't just tried to poison me. She'd been running a long con, sleeping with an executive, selling my patent information, taking millions in finder's fees, and then trying to kill me to get the rest. There's one more thing, Kowalski said quietly. We found this in Victoria's safe deposit box. He slid a document across the table. It was a life insurance policy. On me. For $10 million. Taken out 2 years ago. Elena was the beneficiary. I never signed this, I said. We know. The signature's forged. But it would have been valid if you died before anyone caught on. She would have gotten $10 million from the insurance company on top of everything else. How long had she been planning this? 2 years minimum. Probably longer. She was methodical, patient. She played the long game. I looked at the insurance policy with my forged signature, at the emails with Kolchak, at the evidence of a 2-year conspiracy to steal everything from me. She never loved me at all. Martinez's expression softened. Probably not. I'm sorry. I drove home in a daze, sat in my car in the driveway, looked at the house where I'd almost been murdered. My phone rang. Michael. Martinez called me, told me what they found. David, are you okay? I don't know what I am. The good news is we can go after the finder's fee. That's marital property obtained through illegal means. We can force her to return it. I don't care about the money, Michael. You should. She stole from you. Multiple times, multiple ways. I just want this to be over. It will be, soon. But David, you need to understand something. You got lucky. You saw that vial. You made that switch. If you hadn't, you'd be dead right now. And she'd be living in your house, spending your money, probably planning her wedding to Kolchak. I know. So don't feel bad about what happened to her. Don't feel guilty. She earned every year of that prison sentence. He was right. I knew he was right. But it still hurt. A year later, my life had stabilized into something resembling normal. The divorce was final. Elena was in prison. Victoria was in a different prison. Kolchak had been fired from GlobalTech and was facing federal charges. I'd sold the house, too many bad memories, and bought a condo downtown. Started dating again, carefully. Very carefully. The patent was still generating revenue. GlobalTech was licensing it to other companies. Money kept flowing in. More than I could spend. I donated a lot of it. Set up a foundation for victims of domestic violence. Funded programs for people dealing with betrayal trauma. Tried to turn something terrible into something useful. On the anniversary of the party, I was sitting on my balcony, drinking coffee, not champagne, when my phone rang. Detective Martinez. Mr. Brennan, how are you? Good, better. What's going on? I wanted to let you know, Elena filed an appeal, claims she was coerced by Victoria, says her sentence was too harsh, wants it reduced to 10 years. Will it work? No, the evidence against her is too strong, but I thought you should know. Thanks for the heads up. There's something else. She wants to speak with you. My hand tightened on the phone. No. She claims she has information you need to hear, says it's important, about something we missed. I don't care what she has to say. Your choice. But she seemed genuine, scared even. Said if she doesn't tell you, someone else might get hurt. I closed my eyes. This is manipulation. She's trying to get me to visit so she can play mind games. Probably. But what if she's not? I thought about it for a long time. Fine, I'll go, but you're coming with me. 3 days later, I was sitting in a prison visiting room, Martinez beside me, waiting for Elena to be brought out. She looked different, thinner, older. Prison had aged her in ways that 14 months shouldn't have. She sat down across from me, picked up the phone. I picked up mine. Thank you for coming, she said. You have 5 minutes. What's so important? I need to tell you about Richard Kolchak. I know about Kolchak. He's being prosecuted. You don't know everything. He's dangerous, David. More dangerous than the police realize. How? He didn't just buy my information about your patent. He's done it before. Multiple times. He has a network. People who feed him inside information on patents, startups, research projects. He steals intellectual property for GlobalTech and for himself. Your patent was just one of many. Why are you telling me this? Because there's a list, a digital list of everyone he's ever stolen from. Companies, individuals, research institutions, hundreds of them. And on that list is information about ongoing projects, things that haven't sold yet, things he's planning to steal. Where's this list? Encrypted, on a server only he has access to, but I know the password. Why would you know his password? She looked down. Because I helped him set it up. I was more involved than I admitted. Not just with your patent, with others. The prosecutors don't know the full extent of it. Neither does GlobalTech. So you were running industrial espionage on a massive scale? Yes, and if that list gets out, if people find out what we did, a lot of innocent people will be hurt. Companies will go bankrupt. Research will be stolen. Lives will be ruined. I stared at her. Why should I believe anything you say? Because I'm already in prison. I've got nothing left to lose. I'm not trying to reduce my sentence. I'm not asking for anything. I just need you to know there's a list out there, and it's dangerous, and someone needs to stop it before Kolchak sells it to the highest bidder. Tell the police. I am. I'm telling Detective Martinez right now, but I needed you to know because your name is still on that list. Your patent information, your research notes, everything you ever worked on. If that list gets out, people will come after you. Competitors, criminals, people who want to steal what you've created. Martinez leaned forward. Do you know where the server is located? Yes, I can give you everything. Location, password, access codes, everything. But you need to move fast. Kolchak knows I'm talking to you. He'll try to wipe it remotely. I looked at this woman who'd tried to kill me, who'd stolen from me, who'd betrayed me in every possible way, and I realized she was telling the truth. Give Detective Martinez everything, every detail, every name, every password. She nodded. There's one more thing you need to know. What? I'm sorry. I know that doesn't mean anything. I know it doesn't fix what I did, but I need you to know that somewhere along the way, I forgot who you were. I forgot that you were a person. All I saw was money, and I'm sorry. I stood up. You're right. It doesn't mean anything. I walked out. Martinez followed, her notebook full of information. Do you believe her? I asked. About the list? Yes, about being sorry. Doesn't matter, she's still going to serve her full sentence. The FBI raided Kolchak's servers that night, found the list. Hundreds of names, dozens of stolen patents and research projects, a criminal network spanning multiple countries. Kolchak's charges went from insider trading to running a criminal enterprise. He got 45 years federal prison. GlobalTech's stock crashed when the news broke. Multiple executives were arrested. The company eventually went bankrupt. And me? I got my life back, or what was left of it. Sometimes I think about that moment at the party, when I saw the vial, when I switched the glasses, when everything changed. If I hadn't looked at exactly the right moment, if I'd been distracted, if I'd trusted her, I'd be dead, and she'd have gotten away with it. Instead, she's in prison. Victoria's in prison. Kolchak's in prison. And I'm here, alive, free, learning to trust again. Slowly, very slowly, but I'm learning, and that's enough.